I hope you are all well. Welcome back to some One Hub racing action. This is round 4 of 10 in the championship in the podium tier for season 15. Luke joining you once again, and alongside me is Liam. And Liam, this championship is looking like it's going the way of Ivahanen at the moment. 3 races, 3 pole positions, 3 wins. He has done a stellar job in that Mercedes.
Yep, he's been utterly dominant so far this season, but we've had a few glimpses of people being able to take the fight at him. We had the Red Bulls taking the fight to him last week, we had Nicky taking the fight and Jonas taking the fight to him, and Paul Ricard. I don't think they've just had the opportunity to challenge him just yet.
Yes, it has definitely been close in some races. If you weren't with us last week, Ivahanen did take the victory, but he was pushed all the way by Chris in the Red Bull. A fantastic performance, well outside of the top 10 in qualifying, was supreme in the intermediate conditions, and once again, once the dry tyres were on, maybe if there'd have been a few more laps, he could have taken the win, but he can take great confidence by what is by far his best result of the season so far. Jonas Ulbricht got his second podium in a row, and we saw a few drivers do pretty well as well compared to previous races. One of those, Dexter, he finished in 5th position, his best result of the season, and we also saw Truth NRP get his first points of the season, and he'll be happy with that because he really seemed to struggle in the first couple of races, but it just shows as the season goes on, you do get some drivers showing some more consistency and inevitably picking up the lower places in the points.
Yeah, definitely. The longer the season goes on, the more it allows these slow drivers to build on their pace with more practice, but it also kind of lets the front runners get even quicker, but I think we'll see how it plays out over the rest of the season.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe we'll get someone else who all of a sudden shoots up towards the front of the grid like Chris did last time out. If you weren't with us, if you were with us, you might remember an incident on lap 1 between Ivahanen and Riley. It's fairly safe to say after the race, Riley was not happy with what he considered was being taken out by Ivahanen. The stewards did look at it and decided to go with no further action. There was also no further action on an incident between indecisive Chris and Rich. That was just put down to cars bunching up on lap 1. And Gazaman also got a warning removed, which took 3 seconds off his race time. But I think the Ivahanen and Riley ones were one most people will be interested to talk about. Personally, I think the stewards made the right decision. Did you see it as a racing incident, Liam?
Yeah, I definitely think it was a racing incident, just because it's the first lap after all. Tensions are going to be high, especially in the rain, so you've got to be quite cautious going into turn 1, especially in Shanghai, because it tightens up quite a bit. So I can understand why they've given it as a racing incident, and I do believe it was the right decision.
Yeah, Riley, as I said, definitely not happy with that. He said in the pre-race interviews, which you can check out on the One Hub Racing website, that he's been taken out in both the second round of the season in France and last time out in China, so he's definitely going to be a man determined to get a good result. Other drivers determined to get a good result this time out. We've got PRT Schumacher back after his 1 race ban in the Ferrari. We've got both Ferrari drivers back this evening, which is good to see the prancing horse. He says this is one of his favourite tracks, and a few of the drivers have mentioned that, especially when you compare it to France and China, which aren't universally loved, to be kind. It's definitely to say that Austria is a driver's favourite.
Oh yeah, Austria is a favourite with quite a lot of the drivers in every league, to be fair. It's a really fun and enjoyable track to drive. It's really short as well. It's a bit like Monaco mixed with Monza. It's got that high speed, long straights, but also with a tight and twisting section as well towards the end of the track.
Yeah, personally, I've got to say it's one of my favourite circuits as well. I seem, maybe not on the F1 games, but on a few other games, I seem to do better at these circuits that are just high straights and slow corners. I enjoy Monza, I enjoy the Le Mans circuit. It's probably my favourite circuit of all. Shame it's not on the F1 game, but maybe one day they'll decide to get rid of Paul Ricard and put Le Mans on. That wouldn't be a bad idea, I don't think. Any team with a Renault or a Honda engine might not enjoy it, but I'm sure the fans would. Is this a circuit you enjoyed racing at, Liam? I mean, you raced around here last season.
Yeah, Austria was a brilliant race around. You get a lot of good action as well as it's really easy to drive. So that combination makes it a driver's favourite, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely. We've got the 3 DRS zones at this circuit leading into the 3 action zones that have been noted by the stewards. Basically, turn 1, turn 3, and turn 4. Expect to see lots of overtaking action when the race gets underway. And because of the nature of that, the battles just seem to go on and on. I'm not sure there's a corner on this track that doesn't provide an overtaking opportunity if you're brave enough.
Oh yeah, definitely. If you're brave enough, you can send it absolutely anywhere around the circuit. It's just one of those tracks that provides almost overtaking opportunities almost everywhere. So it never feels to disappoint Austria.
Yes, we are just waiting for Mr. Stim, who will hopefully be joining us. So this actually gives us a perfect opportunity to talk about the drivers' pre-qualifying rituals, which they were asked about. Astronauties, I can't say, but all I can say for some of those who can remember the Kimi Raikkonen interview at Brazil, it's on them lines. And I can't repeat it, so that's all I'm going to say about his pre-race interview, even though his pre-race ritual. Some of the others that they've said, we've got just taking a deep breath and relaxing, and I think that's always good to do, to just try and keep the energy down. What kind of camp were you in, Liam? Because we've got some drivers who will try and keep the energy down, and some, like Jess, she enjoys like listening to music, watching TV, just to try and pump her up a bit more. Which one were you in?
I don't think I was really either of them. I just think, I was one of those drivers who just done a little bit more practice in just before the race. So instead of listening to music or trying to chill out a bit, I was always the one to try and get that little bit of last minute practice in just before the race started.
Yeah, obviously practice, they say, makes perfect, so hopefully these guys have been practicing heavily tonight. Aaron, who is back in the Ferrari tonight after missing the Chinese Grand Prix, he did get a podium here in season 14 in Austria. It was Ivan who took the win. Iceman finished second. He did get the win out on track but lost it due to penalties, so Aaron must be feeling confident, and I get the feeling we haven't seen the best from either of the Ferrari drivers so far, and Jamie, the head of teams, definitely agrees with that.
Yeah, I'd agree with you as well. We haven't seen the best from either Ferrari drivers this season so far, but I think this could be a turning point in the season for Ferrari, so we'll wait and see. I also think we could see a good performance from some of the lower drivers towards the back of the grid. I've heard drivers like Jess saying that they're looking forward to this track more than others because they like it. They prefer it over Paul Ricard and the Shanghai International Circuit.
Yeah, definitely, and I think that is the fact that there are so many overtaking opportunities around this circuit. All the drivers are readying up now, and as soon as they get ready, we'll have 18 minutes of qualifying followed by 36 minutes of racing. Just a reminder that this stream is sponsored by Next Level Racing. Check them out for all your sim rig needs, whether that be in a full-on motion simulator to get really down into the action, or just a little wheel stand to shove in the corner of the room to make this quarantine period go a bit quicker. The link for them is in the description. Any predictions tonight, Liam? And you're not allowed to say either Hannon, Powell and win.
Ooh, I'm going to say a racing point in the points this evening.
Interesting.
That's my prediction.
Interesting. I mean, they have got 1 point so far this season. That was from Jess's fastest lap in Bahrain. Alex has only done one race so far, but Jess, she's been showing steady improvement, so we'll have to see. I think I'm going to go for Kingen to pull out a surprise. He didn't exactly have the best first lap in China. He was a bit mental, I think, is putting it nicely, perhaps, with some of his braking moves. You've got to be optimistic, and I'm not too optimistic about that weather. One hub definitely seems to be plagued by bad weather so far. It's absolutely pouring it down in this qualifying session. I was going to tell you what time set pole position last year, and it was a 1:03. 1:04.4, sorry. I don't think they'll be getting anywhere near that in this qualifying session, Liam. This could make things a lot more interesting. Maybe we could see a bit more of a mixed-up grid again.
Yeah, definitely. I think we could be seeing a repeat of China qualifying if it dries up towards the end. So we'll have to wait and see if we get notified of the weather.
Yeah, we've got a car already coming out of the pit lane. It is one of the Mercedes, and we've got a Haas coming out as well. Schumacher has already retired from the session, interestingly, and apparently qualifying and the race are going to be wet to dry once again. So the mandatory two-stop rule does apply in wet and dry conditions, and they might have to if the race is going to be starting in the wet and moving to dry. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out for everyone and what compromises they've had to make on the car setup as well, because you don't normally need lots of downforce around this track, but obviously in wet conditions you have to put a bit more on just to give you that extra grip around the corners.
Yeah, they're definitely going to need that a little bit extra downforce, especially in the wet conditions. But knowing it's going to dry up at the end of the session, I think a lot of drivers will take the gamble of going with a dry setup here, and then in the race just put on a little bit extra front wing before the start, just to give them that bit more turning through the corners until the dry period comes.
Yeah, definitely. I think you always try and set your car up more for wet conditions. No points for qualifying. The Schumacher's actually retired from the session, saying here he hates Austria in the wet, so he won't be too happy with the conditions so far. We'll follow Jonas Ulbricht round then for a hot lap of this Austrian circuit. The Red Bull ring, formerly known as the A1 ring, wildly changed from its Österreich ring days in the 70s and 80s, heading uphill now down towards turn 1. That makes it very easy to lock up a wheel, but doing well. You can hear him just short shifting slightly there, trying to avoid any wheel spin in these wet conditions. Turn 2 is just a flat out kink even in this weather, and then heavy braking once again into turn 3, sorry. Expect to see lots of overtaking at this point of the circuit in the race once the DRS is active. DRS will also be active on this straight, heading down now towards turn 4. You can see him moving over to the left hand side of the track. If you brake too late, the downhill nature of this corner makes it very easy to run wide and lose a chunk of time, but Jonas just taking it nice and steady so far, flat out through turn 5. Then you've got 6 and 7. Expect to see cars trying to go side by side through here in the race. Turn 7 there coming up now, accelerating your way all the way through turn 8. Going to avoid that car ahead of him. Alex getting well out of the way. And then turn 9 and 10. Could see a lot of invalidations during qualifying and the race around this part of the track. Very easy to cut the corner and run wide on the exit and get it wrong. But Jonas keeping it nice and clean there. Heads across the line. 1:14.554. It's fair to say that's a conservative lap time and probably the best idea to avoid making a mistake if it is going to dry up later on in the session.
Of course, he's just going to take it nice and steady right at the start of the session. You don't want to push it too hard, especially on colder tyres in the wet conditions. That's really going to harm your lap if you push the car too much in the wet conditions, because, like you said, there's certain corners where you run wide and invalidate your lap time, but some of the curves can be a little bit dangerous as well if you get, say you get the entry to a couple of corners wrong.
Yeah, Riley's definitely found turn 7 and 8 tricky. He's been off circuit already and he's off once again. Riley spinning, taps the wall, avoids any major damage. He is not finding it fun in these conditions. That's twice already he has gone off on this lap. It's Eva Hannon fastest at the moment by quite a margin. Lee Hoffner up in 3rd position. He was mentioned in the pre-race press conference by Nick, saying he's been around the midfield. He's actually been enjoying it, but he's hoping for more from now on, and maybe he's got a great chance. And Chris, once again, following on from where he left off last week with that fantastic performance in China, Liam. He's gone fastest once again here.
Yeah, Chris showing his wet weather pace once again. I think he might secretly be doing rain dances before some of the races so that he's up there competing. So I think he's definitely one to watch again this evening, so we'll keep a very close eye on him.
Yeah, we'll keep a close eye on him now as he's heading down towards turn 4. He's not got enough fuel on his car to do another lap. He is one of the race premium drivers here at One Hub. Pay £10, get loads of extra bonuses, including guaranteed entry into the seasons. Check them out in the website. He's just behind his teammate at the moment in the championship. Chris on 19 points, Gazaman on 24. Unsurprisingly, Ivahanen with a mighty 32-point lead at the moment over his teammate Astronauti. But it's very close between Astronauti, Jonas Ulbricht and Nicky. And you've got to say, before we saw Chris's performance in China, those three drivers look like the ones that were most likely to challenge Ivahanen for race victories this season.
Yeah, definitely. We've got a couple of drivers who've looked very close to challenging Ivahanen for victory. Chris was one of them last week. Jonas was one of them in Paul Ricard. And Nicky was also one in Paul Ricard as well. So was his teammate Astronauti as well. So you've got 3 or 4 drivers who are capable of pushing Ivahanen for that race win this evening.
Yeah, definitely. I'd say Bahrain was his easiest victory of the season so far. The other 2 he has had to work incredibly hard for. Last time was first time out. He didn't actually get the fastest lap of the race. That went to Nicky. So we see still wet in this qualifying session so far. 11 minutes 30 to go. It is expected to dry out in this qualifying, but then be wet once again for the start of the race, at least. It'll be interesting to see at what point in the race it does dry out, because we could end up with the opposite of Paul Ricard, where it only became wet at the very last point of the race. Could we see it here where it only becomes dry at the last minute, and therefore they've pretty much got to run a full dry race, as Chris, it says, is going out on the soft tyres. Definitely doesn't look like dry tyre conditions yet.
No, it's not quite dry conditions yet, and like you said, we could have a similar situation to Paul Ricard. I think we'll just have to wait and find out, because the rain on this game is very unpredictable as to when it wants to stop and when it wants to keep going.
As I say that, he's actually changed back onto going onto intermediate tyres, so perhaps deciding it's not worth the risk right now. Indecisive Mac, he's heading around in the Williams. 13th place in the qualifying session at the moment, yet to score points, but another driver who improved slightly last time out, 11th, on the verge of the points, and especially in these wet conditions, that could be crucial if it is like this for the majority of the race, because we could see a few accidents, and keeping it clean is something that has been mentioned by the drivers. The nature of this track makes it very easy to pick up penalties, particularly turns 1, turns 3 you might do, but the final 2 corners, definitely, Liam. We're going to see a few penalties, and if there are any safety cars towards the end of the race, that could have a huge say on the final finishing positions.
Yeah, the last 2 corners are definitely crucial in the race as well as in qualifying, because that's what will make and break your lap pretty much. Those final 2 corners are basically what decides if you're going to either make a mistake and invalidate, or just make it, that tiniest mistake can cost you 1 or 2 attempts, which will put you off on your quali lap. But if you can hook those final 2 corners up properly in qualifying, it'll reward you quite well. And in the race, it's definitely a hot spot for picking up penalties, as Aaron's coming into the pits now, who's currently sitting in 9th. As I was saying, yeah, last 2 corners in the race are definitely a penalty hotspot around Austria, and it's a spot to watch out for, especially with track extending. Don't want to go too wide.
Yeah, definitely you need to keep it careful at that part of the circuit. Riley's gone up into 3rd position, just behind his new best friend Ivahanen, so hopefully they'll be able to keep it all nice and clean. We'll follow Lee Hoffner around now. Could have scored a few more points if it wasn't for readying up penalties in the first couple of races, but he's looking good so far in 5th position. So it's Chris, Ivahanen and Riley have got a bit of a gap over Rich and Lee Hoffner at the moment. I believe the rain has now stopped, so could see some drivers going out onto dry tyres now. It looks like maybe Truth NRP will be one of the first drivers to risk it, and it's definitely worth going out on dry tyres if it is going to start in wet conditions, because then obviously the top 10 will have free choice of wet tyres, so you lose that advantage you get for starting outside the top 10.
Yeah, definitely. If it's going to dry up now and it's a wet start to the race, you might as well go out on all of those sets of dry tyres and make the absolute most out of them, because you've got a free set of intermediates to use in the race. So I say go for it and just use as many as your set of dry tyres as possible to get the best possible lap in without your on the freshest tyres possible, basically.
Yeah, well, Chris and Astronauty have definitely found pace in the intermediates. Chris improving his time even more, and Astronauty moving just ahead of his teammate. Gazaman has gone up into 7th position at the moment. Dexter is currently going slower on his lap, so I think we're getting towards that crossover point. The interesting moment, of course, in the race, when you can tell, is when you get that nice little message saying DRS enabled or disabled. That pretty much is always a great sign that the game gives you that the track is getting ready for dry tyres or intermediates if it is heading the other way. Dexter coming into the pits now. Aaron on an out lap, 12th position. He got a podium last time around. We mentioned it earlier. He likes going for alternative strategies, and maybe with this 2-stop rule at one hub, they don't always pay off for him because tyre wear isn't as big of an issue as it would be normally, and especially around this circuit.
Yeah, definitely. The alternate strategy doesn't really work with the 2-stop rule implemented. It worked very well with the 1-stop rule though. As the tyre wear, you had to focus a lot more on tyre wear, but with the 2-stop rule, it allows the drivers to basically just push that little bit harder on the tyres and not really have to worry about looking after them towards the end of the race as much.
Yeah, definitely. We are expecting most of the drivers in the dry. You'd expect them to start on the soft tyres, and it could be comfortable done on soft mediums and then softs towards the end of the race. But in intermediate conditions, anything could happen. We have had Jess kindly provide us with a photo of what the weather's going to look like. It looks as though it's definitely going to be the first 20 minutes of the race in wet conditions, so you'd expect it to be fully dry towards the end. Can Aaron find any improvement on his intermediate scene? He's 12th place at the moment. The sole remaining Ferrari in this qualifying session after Schumacher retired. Nicky has also yet to set a lap time, so it'll be interesting to see what he can do. As Aaron now just coming around turn 8, taking it very steadily, of course. You don't want to ruin these intermediates too much on a dry circuit because they will soon quickly overheat. Final corner now for Aaron. Again, not touching that curve too much on the inside. You can easily chuck your car across the circuit. It's going to be an improvement up to 9th place for now. I have a feeling, though, he might want to get back to the pit lane pretty sharpish and shove on a set of slicks.
Yeah, definitely. I think he might have. I think it's not quite time for the dry tyres just yet, but by the time Aaron gets back to the pit lane, I believe it will be the crossover point and time for those dry tyres. And I was just looking at some of the pre-race interviews with Eva Hannon where it's asking what are the chances of you and your teammate achieving a high position. Eva Hannon believing that him and Astronauty will finish pretty high on the grid.
Yeah, and Astronauty also said that he said it was pretty likely looking at previous races, and that's perhaps not too surprising given just how far Mercedes are ahead in the Constructors' Championship. 78 points ahead of everyone else already after only 3 races.
Yeah, it's amazing how dominant they've been. It's almost like 2015-esque, Mercedes just running away with it right at the start, and we might get 1 or 2 different people winning a race at a select number of races. So I think it'll really be. It's going to really show in these next few races whether anyone's going to be able to take the fight to the Mercedes over the rest of the season.
Yeah, hopefully we will see some more battles. It's pretty close for the rest of the places in the Constructors. McLaren on 43, McLaren 44, Red Bull 43, no doubt helped by a fantastic performance from Chris last time out, and Renault on 40 points. It's only indecisive Matt at the moment. He's gone back out on 4-lap-old intermediate tyres. Everyone else staying in the pit lane, I think, waiting for the inevitable point where the track becomes dry enough. And on such a short circuit, we said in full dry conditions, it takes about 64 seconds to do a lap. 19 cars are going to find it pretty difficult to get some free air around here.
Yeah, definitely. I'm just going on board with indecisive at the moment, and as you can see, there's very little standing water left on the track. It's a little bit damp, but I think he might have stayed out just a bit too long on his intermediates, it looks like.
Yeah, well, following round for the first sector, there was definitely a dry line on track earlier on in the session. Now you can't see that line, suggesting that the entire track has dried out pretty well. You can't see much spray coming out from the back of that Williams. He's managed to go faster though in the first sector. He's found 3/10, so he's still finding time on those intermediate tyres. They're holding up pretty well at the moment. DRS enabled. I think that's the message everyone was waiting for. We're now going to see a gaggle of cars coming out of the pits. Jess and Alex, the two racing points, desperate to move up from the foot of the Constructors' Championship table. They're going to be the first couple of cars to come out. It's going to be one of them qualifying sessions, Liam, where I think last car across the line again could take pole position.
Yeah, definitely. It's looking like a repeat of Shanghai, where we're going to have an absolute cluster of cars coming out of the pits right about now, and desperately trying to find as much space as they can to get across the line. But and you're right as well with the last car across the line, probably going to be the fastest, as they're going to have the best track conditions out of all of the cars.
Yeah, Indecisive did find a bit of an improvement last time around, but still only staying in 15th for now. We've got yellow flags, which I think is just for one of the Haas cars moving out of the way of their teammate. Maybe a bit of slipstreaming going on, and it is definitely effective around this track. See Jess just passing the two Mercedes that are coming out of the pit lane. This will give us an indication of just how ready this track is for the dry tyres now, with the first sector time that she sets in the racing point. She's 1.2 seconds up on their personal best, as Aaron has retired from the session as well. Was that an accident, or has he just gone out in the pit lane?
I can't see. I'm going to go and check someone going across the line.
I think it's in the pit lane.
I think it's in the pits, yeah.
So
just
both Ferraris out of this session.
Yeah, I was riding on board with Truth NRP for a second to see what it was, and I couldn't see a Ferrari at the side of the track. So I believe he has retired in the pit lane, with the McLaren going purple in the first sector. I think we're going to be seeing that quite a lot for the next 30 seconds to a minute.
Yeah.
As all the drivers complete their laps.
Definitely. I think we're going to see the times coming down now. So Jess, she's going to come across the finish line. There you go, 109.7. 3.5 seconds faster than everyone else, but that won't last for long. Alex, a teammate, 107.4. Who is going to be last person across the line in this session here? I think it might have been one of the Red Bulls. TC's gone fastest, who we're on board with now, 106.0. Again, he's only got 1 point this late season from a fastest lap, and he'll be hoping the qualifying session ends right now. We're going to see Astronauti has retired. Truth NRP coming across the line. He moves up into second place. His teammates.
Here comes Chris. It's going to be a 1 minute 4.7. That puts him 1.3 seconds clear of TC, as Riley goes just under a second slower than Chris. Still waiting on a couple more people across the line, of the likes of Eva Hannon, who's looks to be racing Jess to the line at the moment.
Well, I think Jess is actually on a hot lap as well, so that's just bad timing for Eva Hannon more than anything. So Eva Hannon, where's he going to be? How compromised was he by that? He's only 7th on the grid. TC, he's getting a bit of a slipstream though here off Alex Lilliard. He moves up into 3rd position. It's Reynolds, 2nd and 3rd at the moment. Gazaman, where did he come across the line? 9th position for Gazaman. But fantastic qualifying session once again by Chris. He did it the hard way last time out, coming from towards the back of the grid. He takes pole position for this Austrian Grand Prix, his first pole at one hub, and a great session for the Renault drivers as well. Nicky in 2nd, but TC way up there in 3rd. He'll be delighted with that. Riley towards the front of the grid again in 4th. It's Catboy Key and Lee Hoffner 5th and 6th for all Haas 3rd row. Kingan 7th, Eva Hannon in 8th for the first time, not on pole position. Gazaman 9th, Truth NRP 10th, Rich 11th, Dexter 12th, the racing points of Alex and Jess 13th and 14th, Astronauti down in 15th position, Aaron 16th, Jonas Ulbrich 17th, Indecisive 18th, and PRT Schumacher did not set a time. So the title contenders, you could say, definitely mixed up across the grid there. And I think Eva Hannon, even though he is further down the grid than he'd like, in 8th place, he'll be pretty happy that his main rivals, apart from Nicky, all seem to be behind him.
Yeah, definitely. I think he's got off quite lucky, with that qualifying session, that most of his rivals are behind him. The main problem for him, I think it will be Chris and Nicky being on the front row together. So I think it's going to be an interesting battle between Nicky and Chris. But going off Chris's pace in the wet last week, I think people wouldn't be surprised if he just stormed off at the start of this race.
Yeah, I think we might have to check that it's not Lewis Hamilton driving for Chris because his pace in the wet just seems to be absolutely ridiculous at the moment. Great lap from Nicky and TC as well. I seem to remember a few times now he's had a good qualifying session and just seemed to get involved in first lap incidents, so hopefully he won't. And it looks like everyone has waited for Gazzaman to ready up, so no penalties for that. Lee Hoffner learning his lesson. He's in a good position as well to get his best results of the season. I think it's going to be a fascinating race, Liam. Any predictions on who you think is going to take the victory?
I'm going to say Chris or Nicky. One of those two are going to win, and I'm going to stand by my prediction of seeing a Racing Point finishing in the point scoring positions as they're sitting in 13th and 14th at the moment.
Yeah, they definitely have a great chance of getting points. Unsurprisingly, everyone on the intermediate tyres. Chris with the best possible view. Ferraris again, they seem to be struggling in qualifying. Schumacher didn't set a time. He's down in last place, and Aaron only 16th. Couldn't improve on the slick tyres. In fact, didn't head out to set a lap time on the slicks. He'll have plenty of fresh tyres though for later on in the race, so it waits to see whether that is a deliberate tactic or not. What can Astronaut do, making his way up through the field? You can see him not actually doing the formation lap, and neither is Jess. He'll be hoping to move up. Jonas hoping to move up. Championship leader Eva Hannon, 8th place, and it is quite a tight pit straight here. You definitely don't want to get caught in the midfield in the first few laps. Made even worse, of course, by the spray that you can see he's going to have to contend with.
Yeah, definitely. It's quite a tight track, Austria, and it's going to be quite chaotic if you get stuck in the midfield, especially in wet weather conditions where you can't see where you're going, and a lot of drivers will be trying to move onto a different lane just to try and spot their braking points. So it'll be quite chaotic these first few laps, I believe. So that's going to be something the drivers are going to have to watch out for.
Yes, definitely. A reminder, no one on this grid has won a race here at Austria with one hub. We've had a few drivers like Lewis, White Fountain, Sean and Jono have both took 2 wins. They're the only guys to have taken multiple wins. Aaron got a podium here last time out. He's going to have to go some to do that once again. A reminder of the other streams tonight at 7:30. It is the Precision tier with Owen and Austin, and then Alex Lilliart will swap his helmet for a microphone at 8:30 for the Pinnacle tier. I have a feeling you're going to want to stick with this one though for the entirety. It looks like it is going to be a good one. Chris heading now towards his grid slot. Clear view uphill towards the first corner. Nicky alongside. Championship leader Eva Hannon. He's got that 32-point lead at the moment over his teammate. The Mercedes though 8th and 15th from the final cars in their grid slot now as we wait for the lights to come on for this Austrian Grand Prix. Round 4 of 10 in season 15 at one hub. It's 3, it's 4, it's 5, and then as soon as they go out, we'll be racing here at Austria. It's a good start from Chris. Nicky not able to get alongside, and he's going to have to do some defending from his teammates, which he has done so. So he's managed to hold off TC, but Chris has got a great start. You can see the cars starting to run wide there. There's a yellow flag, and I think that is Eva Hannon. It's Eva Hannon facing the wrong way down the pit lane. The championship leader. I said you don't want to get stuck in the midfield. He's facing the wrong way, and this could be a disaster for him. And safety car has been deployed, and Truth NRP and Schumacher have had a huge shunt on the straight. My goodness, I'm not quite sure what happened there.
I have no idea what's going on there. I just spotted Eva Hannon backwards, and I can see a McLaren and a Ferrari in the wall halfway up the straight. So this has been an interesting race. We've not even got through the first 2 corners, and we've already got a safety car. So I think you're right. This is going to be one to watch. So better stick with us and see what happens.
One driver who will be happy with that safety car is Eva Hannon. That was 2 separate incidents because I saw Truth NRP dropping down the field, and with Eva Hannon as well, facing the wrong way. And then we got the notification that the safety car was out, and both the McLaren of NRP and the Ferrari of Schumacher, who was really disappointed. He was looking forward to this race. He's looking forward to Canada as well later on in the season, so hopefully things will go more well for him there. But Eva Hannon, I think that incident, bringing out the safety car, he'll be pretty happy with that. And his teammate, Astronauty, he's heading into the pits with front wing damage. It's safe to say the Brackley team has had a nightmare of a start to this race. And we've also got someone else, I think, heading into the pits as well. That is Indecisive and Eva Hannon. So they're both Mercedes with damage, but they will be able to catch up, obviously, underneath the safety car.
Yeah, definitely. We've had a very, a kind of like a Spain 2016 situations with the Mercedes drivers. Both have been caught out on the first lap and have got damage. They haven't retired though, which is a slight positive, and having the safety car will allow them to catch up to the back of this field. But it is going to be a tough fight to drag their Mercedes back through the field and into those point scoring positions.
Yeah, we'll just have a look at how the points changed in that couple of corners that we actually got some racing action. The two Renaults did swap, so TC up into second and Nicky in third. Dexter moving up 4 places. Jonas Ulbricht, though, starting way down in 17th. He's got up into 11th. With the two Mercedes way down, this could be just what himself and Nicky need to get themselves further up in the championship. Gazaman having a bit of a nightmare start, dropping down 5 places, and Eva Hannon obviously moving from 8th to the back of the grid. And I suppose one good thing for these drivers is this is going to take up quite a lot of the wet weather period that we were expecting. Jess, as information, said to us it was going to be around 20 minutes, so we should see more of a dry race now.
Yeah, definitely. This is definitely going to shorten the rainy period in the race, so I think the drivers will be patiently will have less time to wait now to get onto their slick tyres, so it's going to be interesting, especially on the safety car restart, to see what happens if Chris will get away. We've got TC sitting in second place. It's been a great evening so far for him, and we've also forgot about Riley. He's not been taken out on the first lap this week, so it appears to be going well for him so far.
Yeah, he's had a few podiums at one hole, but not yet got a victory. Could tonight be the night in 4th place? He's always shown good pace as the Alfa Romeo driver, and Dexter doing well. His teammate moving up from 12th to 8th position. We're on lap 3 of this Austrian Grand Prix. No message that the safety car is coming in just yet, although I can't imagine it being out too much longer. And it is Chris, TC and Nicky, your top 3 at the moment. We've already had 2 retirements of Truth, NRP and Schumacher, and the championship leader Eva Hannon dropping down way to the back of the grid. Maybe that means when it does get towards the conditions for slick tyres, he might try and be one of the first drivers out, knowing that if he's still near the back, he doesn't have much to lose, and the safety car is coming in this lap.
Yeah, so this is going to provide this is going to be an interesting restart. See what happens, so keep your eye on these front 4 drivers to see what will happen with the front runners. Chris just bunching the field up at the moment, waiting for the perfect opportunity to bolt, and it looks like he's bolting now. So keep an eye out on the drivers behind. I think the gaps are pretty much staying the same. Catboy Key a little bit closer to Riley though, so that could be interesting to see what happens here. Got a bit of a yellow flag, but I don't think that's much. But Catboy Key just staying behind Riley for now, maybe setting him up for a move down the main DRS straight. So keep an eye on that. We've got Eva Hannon getting past, and Astronaut getting past, well, trying to get past Jess Gamer at the moment. So a lot of stuff going on that restart. But yeah. Chris pulling away still.
Yeah, Chris nailed the restart just as he nailed the start at the start of the race, obviously. So Jess Gamer still battling here further down the field, and Eva Hannon's round again. He's been pushed wide, I think, there by Indecisive. Is that even more damage on the Mercedes? We'll have to wait and see until we get a camera angle. Not quite sure what happened there. He just seemed to come to Eva Hannon facing sideways, and no.
He's got no damage. It's just a small tap.
Well, I think he's got away with one there, so we'll see what happens here. Lee Hoffner, he's behind his teammate Catboy Key. Hass's 5th and 6th at the moment, and they've only had 1 point so far this season, so this is a great opportunity for them at the moment. But Chris out in front, 1.1 seconds the gap to TC. He's also a further second ahead of his teammate, so the gap spreading out fairly much at the front of the field. But Jonas Ulbricht, he's not too far behind Alex Lelliart, but no DRS of course because of the wet conditions. And if I'm right in saying, it looks like it stopped raining, so it shouldn't be wet too much longer. Alex, so getting a bit of a slide on coming out of turn 1. Is that going to give Jonas Ulbricht the chance he needs to get his McLaren into the points? The sole remaining McLaren in the race goes for the inside into turn 3. Alex not fighting that move too hard, and in fact he's gone round, so the racing point facing the wrong way. Quick 360, should be able to get back out on circuit. No real harm done there.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for the Racing Point team, who had a strong start to the race, it looked like, but we'll wait and see if they can move further up the field or not. Lee Hoffner looks to have got past Catboy Key there, so he looked to have tried to send the move into turns 4 and 5. I think Catboy Key might have let him through, realising his teammate is the quicker driver at the moment.
Yeah, Lee Hoffner's looking very good at the moment, and Jonas Ulbricht also looking really racy. Astronauti moved up into 13th, Eva Hannon 14th, for the 2 racing points are now 15th and 16th. Chris setting fastest lap of the race once again. He's really going for this at the moment. We're hearing predictions here that it could be dry within 5 laps time, so we'll see a few more pit. Indecisive though, he did get damage from that incident with the Mercedes of Astronauti, so he's coming in for a second pit stop. It's really not gone well for him in the Williams. His teammate though is not doing too bad in 7th, as Rich has gone wide there. I think he was trying to get past Dexter, and Dexter really didn't see it coming, and Jonas Ulbricht just says thank you very much. Takes 9th place from the Toro Rosso driver.
Yeah, Jonas moving swiftly through the field at the moment, so he's catching up to the train of Dexter, Kingan and Catboy Key, it looks like. Well, Lee Hoffner's still not quite closing up on Riley in front of him, as DRS is enabled.
Expect to see a few cars coming in this lap. Indecisive, he's already gone on to the medium tyres. I was going to say that might be a bit early, but he's timed this to perfection by the looks of things. You could see a few cars taking late dives into the pits because they are allowed to. Chris has headed in, TC's headed in, Nicky's had to stay out to avoid the double stack. It might have even been worth just doing that, as we're seeing most of the field head into the pits now. In fact, it wouldn't surprise me if it is only Nicky. In fact, no, Eva Hannon, he's also staying out on circuit. But I think everyone else, apart from Nicky and Eva Hannon, has headed into the pits. We're seeing a mixer of soft and medium tyres going on the car. A quick reminder, you have to do a compulsory 2 stops. So you'd imagine most of these will run the mediums and the softs in this race. Not too surprising to see Astronauti going for the hards though, because that is his second stop, so he can take those towards the end, Liam.
Yeah, definitely. I think Astronaut is playing the long game, going for the hard tyres, so he doesn't have to stop again. TC coming out on the medium tyre, so that is going to allow Chris to pull even further away. But it might work out better in the long run for TC going on the medium tyres. We'll just have to wait and see. Everyone else apart in the top 10, apart from King and Dexter, are on the mediums. Everyone else in the top 10 running softs, apart from TC, who I've already mentioned. Still got those 2 drivers out on the intermediate tyres, which might have been a bit of a mistake, staying out that little bit longer, but I think they're just trying to avoid the double stack.
Yeah, Dexter seems to be having some trouble heating up his medium tyres. He's got Rich all over him at the moment, and this battling has allowed Aaron to catch up, and the cars of Kingan and those further ahead to pull away. So Eva Hannon's put the hard tyres on. Nicky has put the mediums, and you can already see that Renault car is dropping as the Toro Rosso here of Rich down the inside into turn 1. I thought he was going to go for the move there, but thinking better of it. Indecisive Mac, fastest lap of the race on those warmed up tyres, and it's looking very close here at the moment as Rich, he goes to the inside for turn 3. Dexter's going to be forced to the outside. Rich is going to get the car down the inside. He goes for the move. Dexter runs wide.
and with the switchback on both of them, it looks like. So pay attention here, as it looks like Aaron might be set try and send it. No, he's not quite close enough, it looks like. So great driving from the Ferrari driver there to hello, I can't speak today for some reason, to capitalise on the battle of the Toro Rosso and the Alfa Romeo.
Yeah, you can definitely tell he's got that experience. In fact, Catboy Key nearly got past the Alfa Romeo as well. But Chris is going even faster out in front. He's got that gap up to 6 seconds now at the moment from TC. Riley moving up into third place. Lee Hoffner in fourth for now. But he's got Nicky on that set of medium tyres all over the back of him. So let's see what happens now. DRS open on that Renault. We promised a lot of battling and we're only a quarter of the way through the race so far. Not going to be able to do it into turn 3, but going for that switchback similar to what Aaron attempted last time around. Didn't get the best exit. Of course, Lee Hoffner's tyres are in great condition at the moment. I think Nicky's going to have to go the long way around if he wants to take this 4th place. He's definitely going for it at the moment, but Lee Hoffner has that covered off for now. We're seeing some great battling throughout the field. Catboy Key did manage to get past Dexter for 10th place in the end, so that Alfa Romeo seems to be struggling. And the two Mercedes, these are going to be ones to watch. 13th and 14th on the hard tyres. No need to pit again, of course. The only other driver who is in that situation is Indecisive Mac, but I can't see him getting those mediums to last nearly 30 laps and have them in any decent condition towards the end. So the Mercedes could be ones to watch. Aaron, not sure whether he's made a mistake because he's dropped behind Catboy Key, who's moved up into 9th position. But Nicky, again, all over the back of Lee Hoffner, that's stopping out that one extra lap. You can just see how much time it has cost the Renault driver.
Yeah, definitely. He's dropped from 4th place to 5th place, and Lee Hoffner going very defensive here. So I imagine Nicky's going to go for the switchback again, extremely close to the back of that Haas car there. He's going to send it up the inside or go around the inside. It looks like Nicky is going to go up the inside of the Haas driver and basically getting the move completed before they even have to turn into the corner. And great driving from the Renault there, and he now goes off to try and hunt down Riley ahead of him, who's closing up to the back of TC now in 2nd place. So taking our eyes off Riley for a bit, and he's just caught up to the back of that Renault, who is on the medium tyres. So pay attention here as to what will happen in the next few straights.
Yeah, Riley now with the DRS as he starts lap 11 in 3rd place. You can see TC just ahead, Nicky 4 seconds behind, so the race looking pretty good for the Renault team at the moment. DRS open once again. Chris, he's checked out from this battle. He's 7.8 seconds up the road as they're going side by side into turn 3. Riley's going to try it all the way around the outside. He's got the car slowed down. What a move by the Alfa Romeo, and he's clear enough to be safe from TC into the next corner. He means business. He wants to get his first podium of the season. Yeah, Riley showing just how quick he is around Austria and why you should never sleep on him in one-hub races. He has got the pace. He's just been very unlucky in the past 2 races. This looking like this could be his first podium of the season, so we'll keep an eye on the Alfa Romeo driver for the rest of the race, as Jonas is now on the back of Lee Hoffner. So I imagine a move will be made either into turn 1 or the hairpin, as Lee Hoffner going very wide there. Jonas getting a good run off the final corner, but Lee Hoffner has the DRS of Nicky in front of him, but not enough. Jonas not quite close enough to get the move done. Is he going to be close enough to get the move done up this main straight now? He is not moving into overtake mode, the McLaren driver. Lee Hoffner going very deep there, so he looks like he's made a mistake, and the McLaren moves up to 5th position. Yeah, so one Haas going off and getting himself a 5-second penalty. The other moving up into 8th as Riley and TC are battling this time around. Riley setting the fastest lap last time around with a bit of help of DRS, and he needs to get a move on because Chris, 8.1 seconds up the road. He's managed to hold on to that second place for now, and himself and Chris, they need to take advantage of this free air that they need to find themselves in, because they will be pitting a lot earlier than the medium runners, and perhaps that is why Jonas seems so determined to get past Lee Hoffner, because now he can have a go at Nicky while his tyres are still in good condition.
Yeah, it looks to be lining up the move on Nicky, either into the hairpin at the top of the straight or into turns 4 and 5, so we'll keep an eye on what happens here. They're going to go up the main straight. The gap about 5/10s, so it's not quite close enough. The McLaren just not moving into any of the higher ERS modes. I'm not sure why, but I imagine he might be just trying to save his ERS, but not the best way to get past the car ahead, I believe.
Yeah, maybe he's just trying to save his tyres slightly and staying in the DRS of Nicky. But I think on the softs, you'll be wanting to get past cars. Rich is in 8th. He's got Catboy Key not far behind, and Aaron. These are still battling over 8th, 9th and 10th place. Gazaman has got ahead of Dexter, who seems to be really struggling on those mediums. So the Alfa Romeo down in 12th, while his teammate is in 2nd position at the moment. Riley, they're getting a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. We said that's going to be crucial at the moment, whereas Chris, 8.2 seconds ahead after 14 laps. Where was this man in the first 2 races? As Jamie's mentioned, he's just been absolutely incredible in China, and there's still a long way to go, of course, in this Austrian Grand Prix. Anything can happen. He's looking really good so far here again.
Yeah, Chris just looks to be one of those masters of interchangeable conditions. The last 2 races, well, we've had the race go from wet to dry, and Chris has thrived, so maybe he's one of those drivers who secretly thrive in those interchangeable conditions, a bit like Lewis Hamilton, and you could possibly say Max Verstappen in real life. And the Red Bull, just utterly dominant at the moment, so keep an eye on him. TC still floating around on the back of Riley here. Riley looks to be struggling a little bit on his tyres, so we'll wait and see if the Renault makes the move at some point.
Yeah, I think another 5 or 6 tyres, 5 or 6 laps, I should say. You can't have 6 tired cars in Formula 1 anymore.
Well, we have had them.
It's won a race before. It's won a race, and I imagine it was pretty interesting to drive for that thing, and pit stops would have been definitely challenging trying to fit all that many people in. But we digress. Riley, 8.5 seconds behind Chris. He's still got TC doing well to keep in contact. Jonas Ulbricht, he's trying to stay with Nicky as well, but Nicky just looks to be extending that gap ever so slightly. These have got rid of Lee Hoffner, and Rich, he's dragged Kingan into this battle now. They've caught up to the Williams, who's been running around on his own for a bit, and Rich has gone down the inside before turn 3. That is a comfortable pass for the Toro Rosso. He's currently in 7th, which would be his and the team's best result of the season. But Kingan, he's going to be looking to fight back into turn 4, not able to do so. And you've still got Aaron and Catboy Key fighting behind as Kingan actually runs slightly wide coming out of that corner, so that's scuppered any chances. Further down the field though, you've still got Eva Hannon and Astronauty just running around doing their own race at the moment. 13th and 14th for these two. It's all about playing the long game and not doing anything silly at this point.
Yeah, TC still hovering about 5 tenths behind Riley, who appears to be doing a bit of Tokyo drift through the last 2 corners. The back end on that Alfa Romeo not looking too happy at the moment. So we'll watch TC set up the move into turn 3. Is he going to go up the inside on the Alfa Romeo? Will Riley be close enough? Yes, he does. Riley does the switchback and will have the DRS. So unless TC can get a good enough slipstream here to send it back up the inside, I think Riley will keep his 2nd position. But no, TC sending it up the inside, Riley leaving him just enough room but keeps the position.
Yeah, Riley having to fight hard here. He's really seeming to be struggling on those soft tyres. It wouldn't surprise me if he's one of the first drivers to pit, because he's losing chunks of time at the moment. Further back, you've got Catboy Key and Kingan. They're battling, coming out of turn 5, side by side. They're going to be side by side through 6. There's contact between the two of them. No damage done. But Kingan, he will thankfully take that place. So he stays in 8th, and Aaron wasn't close enough to take advantage of that. But that's something you will see quite often around this circuit. Battles that start way down at turn 2 and 3, carrying all the way on through 6, 7 and 8 as Aaron's round in the Ferrari. I think he just got caught out slightly by the dirty air there, and now he's going to have to wait for a few of these cars.
Riley, but there's no damage on the Renault, it looks like. That compromised his run through turn 1, but you might have the chance to get him into turn 4. As you said, Aaron looks to have spun around and is now in the pits, so his tyre, and picks up a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pits.
And retires from the session, but TC, he's trying to go round the outside at turn 3 and 4. He's got on the dirt slightly, and you can just see how much Riley is holding these guys up, because now Nicky and Jonas Ulbricht have joined this battle. Surely Riley's going to have to pit soon. That is now both Ferraris out of the race. Jamie said he needed good performances from them this time around, and it's been anything but. Schumacher retiring on lap 1 after an incident with True RP, and Aaron now out of the race. Riley carrying on once again though, but that gap at the front is 11 seconds. Could we see the Renaults switch around here? Because Nicky is caught up about 2 seconds on that lap because of the battling between Riley and TC, and has generally had the more pace most of the races this season, you've got to say.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if the Renaults do switch around, but I imagine TC will want another go at Riley, and he's going to take it up the inside into the hairpin. They're banging tyres now. He pushes Riley off the track, a bit like Max Verstappen did to Charles Leclerc in real life, as he gets past the Alfa Romeo driver into turn 3 and is comfortable into turn 4 now. Up next,
can't imagine Riley being...
for it.
Can't imagine Riley being too happy with that, but as you said, it was similar to what Max Verstappen did, and that was all seen as league. Also, TC definitely learning from the best. He's now up into second position. How long can Riley stay out for, though? Because he's lost a lot of time to Chris, and he's going to have Nicky and Jonas Ulbricht all over the back of him sooner rather than later. In fact, Nicky's going to have a go here into turn 9. What a move by the Renault driver. He's ran wide. Jonas Ulbricht there as well, and Riley, I think, just got caught out trying to go into the pits there, and somehow out of all that, Jonas Ulbricht, he's now up into 3rd place.
Well, it's been a very that was a chaotic battle there. So Jonas capitalising on mistakes from both Nicky and Riley, but Nicky's going to have the DRS and the better straight line speed going up into the hairpin at turn 3. Not going to send up the inside, but perhaps waiting to try and get the run into turn 4, but it doesn't quite look like he's close enough to make the move on the McLaren, who stays safe for now, but I imagine will be coming in soon on those worn soft tyres.
Yeah, definitely. We saw Catboy Key come in on that lap as well as Riley. Catboy Key coming out in 13th, Riley coming out in 11th, and Westy making a very good point in the chat. The stewards have allowed the drivers to take the racing line towards the pit lane, and you can just see there, Nicky went for a move as Riley was trying to head into the pits, and I think they were lucky to avoid a bigger incident there, so hopefully that doesn't happen again. Jonas Ulbricht, though, he's carrying on for another lap. He seems to be doing fine on his tyres at the moment, and Chris, way out in front, not having to worry about any accidents at the moment. 11 point seconds his gap now to TC. All the action happening behind with Nicky on the back of Jonas Ulbricht once again. DRS open on that Renault. You can hear the ding. You can see the rear wing opening. He's going to take the inside line into turn 3. Jonas trying to hold off around the outside. Can he do the switch back? He tried, but I think those tyres just aren't giving him the grip that he needed to do that. He's in the DRS on the run down to turn 4. He's got a great slipstream actually there. Great straight line speed into McLaren. So Jonas up into 3rd, and Dexter on the inside of Gaza. He's giving the Red Bull the Max Verstappen treatment now, and that's allowed Ivahanen on his hard tyres to close up right behind. Riley's won't be far off this battle as well. Ivahanen now in 10th position, just inside the points, but the man who's second in the championship is his teammate and is in 12th. Do you think these guys will try and go to the end on these hard tyres, or do you think they might go for a pit stop to the end to try and get a fastest lap? Because even if they're not in the top 10, they will get a point for that.
Yeah, I think I could see either both or one of those Mercedes cars coming in towards the end to fit the soft tyres to go for that fastest lap attempt.
Yeah, it's very
Riley
possible.
is splitting both of the Mercedes at the moment, but he's not quite close enough to Ivahanen, who currently trying to line up Gaza, who's still got the DRS of Dexter, so that's keeping him safe for the moment.
Yeah, a bit of a DRS train going on here, and that's keeping everyone safe. Astronauti, he's got a great one on Jonas Ulbricht, who's just come out of the pit lane, so the undercut did work for Riley, but he finds himself mired in traffic now. So Riley, I thought he was going to spin off slightly there, just getting a bit adventurous at the rear end of that Alfa Romeo. Astronauti up into 11th. So Jonas Ulbricht pitting. We'll see what happens with Nicky and TC when they pit, because they're on the medium tyres, of course, so they'll be going a lot longer. Chris, he's coming to the pits now after 15 laps. That will give TC the lead of this race, but we're seeing a great battle at the moment. 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th and 12th, all within a few seconds of each other, and Riley and Jonas Ulbricht won't want to get involved in this too much because they're on much fresher tyres. They'll be hoping to make quick work of these cars.
Chris coming out in clean hair at the moment, sitting in third position, so it's not costing too much really, that pit stop. So he's got off this quite dandy, it looks like, as Dexter and Gaza still go. Gaza makes a mistake coming out of turn 1, which allows Eva Hannon to go around him.
Yeah, Eva Hannon has managed to go round the outside. Gazaman just made a mistake there. You saw him weaving on the straight to try and break the slipstream. Riley having a go now at Gazaman. Is he able to get close enough? Not this time around. And the DRS, as we said, just helping all these guys. Eva Hannon will have more pace than Dexter and Gaza at the moment, but Riley and Jonas Ulbricht should theoretically be much quicker. Up front, though, as we said, TC and Nicky, it's now a 1-2 for Renault, but Chris coming out in third place, only 4.8 seconds off the lead of this race, and with 14 laps to go now, are we going to see a different driver win this season? It's almost certain that we will, and it's looking almost certain that it will be the man in the Red Bull. Got second last time out, looking good to go one better this time in Austria.
Yeah, definitely can see both of those Renaults in front of him at the moment, and that's just going to spur him on even more to just catch up to the back of them before they even get into the pits. Looks like he might even catch, well, looks like he'll catch Nicky before he pits. I'm not sure about TC at the moment, as Precision Tier is going live now as they're about to start their qualifying session. So feel free to tune in with them if you feel like it, but we would appreciate it if you stayed in with us for the rest of this chaotic Austrian GP, as Gaza's back up the inside of
Riley's
Eva Hannon.
Sorry to interrupt, Liam. Riley's gone very deep there, nearly into the back of everyone. He's in the gravel trap. And we saw Eva Hannon get past Dexter. That just bunched everyone up. And Riley, he's in a good position again. And for whatever reason, it just doesn't seem to be working out for him. That's dropped him down to 12th position as TC has actually come into the pits.
Yeah, it's all gone wrong for Riley for the third week in a row, it looks like. But Gaza sent it up the inside of Eva Hannon, and that has allowed him to pull out a small gap on Dexter, who's behind him now. So Gaza looking quite well for the moment. So TC is now coming out on soft tyres just ahead of this group.
That could be crucial.
Yeah, Chris is 1.3 seconds behind the Renault of Nicky, who will probably be coming in this lap as his teammate came in the previous lap.
Dexter moving slightly under braking there. Eva Hannon had to take evasive action at the last minute. I think he avoided making contact, but with all these cars bunching together, we've seen Riley get caught out. I wonder whether something similar happens to him, because Eva Hannon nearly went straight on at turn 3 there, but it's still Gazaman, Dexter, Eva Hannon, Jonas Ulbricht running 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th and 9th at the moment, but this is costing them a lot of time. It'll be interesting to see where Nicky comes out in all this, because he was battling with Riley and Jonas. In normal conditions, you'd expect the Alfa and the McLaren to come out far ahead, but they haven't exactly had an easy run of things on these fresh tyres. Yeah,
the Renault's still not coming in yet, as Kingan is now in from his third place. We shall see where he emerges. It looks like it'll be behind this battle. We've also got Dexter into the pits, possibly trying to get the undercut on Gaza and Cole. So we shall see where he also comes up, where he'll play out in the grand scheme of things at the moment. Yeah, Kingan out in 11th, just 11th, just behind Catbike.
And Eva Hannon's gone very deep again, and he's got himself a 3-second time penalty there. I think he was trying to avoid being clipped by his teammate, and Jonas Ulbricht's got a run on Astronauti at the moment. There's contact between them, but The McLaren, with better tyres at this stage in the race, takes 6th position. Eva Hannon will be his next target. Out in front, though, Nicky has headed into the pits just after being passed by Chris. So, that is Chris now starting lap 26 of this race. And after this, it will only be Gazaman, Alex and Jess who still need to make their second pit stops to avoid that cruel disqualification that we saw happen to someone in the precision tier earlier. Gazaman is into the pits now. Unsurprisingly, TC, fastest lap of the race on those fresh soft tyres. He's going to have to go some, though, to take the win. 14 seconds behind, and all that battling, Nicky, it has helped him. He's coming out in 3rd place.
Yeah, he's capitalised quite a bit on this massive scrap between Eva Hannon and Cole. So, as Jonas is now up the inside of Eva Hannon here, into turn 3, gets the move done. Will Eva Hannon have the run? He might just be close enough. It doesn't look like he has the DRS open for some reason, which is pretty strange. So, I think he's realising Jonas might be the quicker driver at this point in the race.
Yeah, it's all about just hanging on now for the Mercedes drivers, which is going pretty well so far, and that has been noted by Kronos. 5th and 6th place. I think they'd have taken this with 10 laps to go, judging by how their start went.
Yeah, I think they'll be quite happy with 5th and 6th place, as Riley's now back up to 8th position.
Yeah, Riley in 8th now. He's trying to catch back up to Catboy Key. They're on the same age of tyres, and we're wanting to make the move done pretty fast because Rich and Kingan are behind on the soft tyres. So this could be another battle we're seeing quite often towards the end of the race. As they now move on.
Going very wide, it looks at turn 1, so Eva Hannon could possibly have the run into the hairpin. Is he going to send it? No, he's going to be patient, it looks like. Try and get the run into turn 4. Oh, the back of that Mercedes quite loose on those old hard tyres.
Yeah, further back.
Jonas to escape.
Further back, Rich and Riley battling for 8th place, and Rich getting ahead of Riley into turn 3 and getting the DRS. Riley had it as well off of Catboy Key ahead, I believe, as Kingan down. He's gone down the inside and he's hit. He went round the outside, hit Riley. Big damage on the front wing of the Williams, I believe. He's definitely missing an end plate, and that's going to cost him. Very nearly took both himself and Riley out, and you can just see how much he's understeering, getting himself a penalty. So it looks like being a pointless race for Kingan this time around. He finished outside the top 10 last time, but managed to get the fastest lap for outside the top 10, and I think that's going to be the best he'll be able to do with Lee Hoffner not too far behind him. Yeah,
both racing points have now stopped for their final pit stop of the race.
Yeah, so that means everyone has made 2 stops.
Everybody has completed their 2 stops. Yep. So now we've got Rich on the back of Catboy Key, and is going to try and send it up the inside into turn 3, but won't quite get it. But he'll probably get the DRS and send it into turn 4. So we'll keep an eye on this for the moment, as Rich sends the car up the inside into turn 4. But Catboy Key holding it around the outside for now, but Rich having the better traction out of the corner will allow him to keep that position.
Yeah, so Rich up into 7th place, up the road 4.5 seconds ahead of him are the 2 Mercedes. Can he catch them up? Because they'll be looking pretty happy with their 5th and 6th position at the moment. Eva Hannon is still managing to stay within DRS range of Jonas Ulbricht, which is definitely helping with his pace, because them hard tyres won't have too much rubber left on them at the moment. 8 laps remaining then in this Austrian Grand Prix. It's Chris, TC, Nicky and Jonas Ulbricht. Great performance, I must say, by Jonas. If I quickly get the position changed up, 13 places up from his starting position. A great race from him so far, and he's looking good to hold on to that 4th position. There's Riley. He now tries to catch back up to Catboy Key and Rich, although Kingan, with that damaged front wing, he doesn't seem to be holding up too much, because he's now behind Riley. He's got the DRS open. Will he try and have a go? They touch slightly. There's a bit of wheel banging between the 2 of them, but Kingan sending it down the inside into turn 4. Riley tries to hold on, but he's not able to. That is the Alpha down into 10th position for now. It wouldn't surprise me too much if these 2 are having words at the end of this race, but Riley up into 10th and his teammates still battling with Gazaman for what is now 12th and 13th position.
Yeah, there's been quite a chaotic in the midfield and in the midfield basically this entire race, as Chris is now 15 seconds clear of the Renault in second place. So it looks like he's definitely going to take this win unless some sort of catastrophic failure happens on that Red Bull car.
Yeah, as long as there's no brain fade or DRS failure or anything along like that, he should be looking pretty good to take his first victory of the season. Dexter, he's in the DRS range now of Gazaman. This is for 12th and 13th, but not able to do anything this time around. Will he have a go into turn 4? We can just see it. DRS opening now on that Alfa Romeo. Gazaman's going to try and defend the inside line, I feel. No, doesn't feel like Dexter is close enough, and in the end holds that place pretty comfortably. And Rich, he's definitely closing up on these two Mercedes. It wouldn't surprise me if on the final lap we see him having a go to try and get into the top 6. Ivanhanen's got away from Astronauty, so Astronauty, now that he's outside of that DRS, he could be a bit of a sitting duck if Rich gets within a second.
Yeah, that looks like it, but I think, well, going on for Rich's pace at the moment, I think he might be safe for now. I think Astronaut might be safe for the next few laps, so I imagine he'll be able to hang on there.
We've had a swap round. We've had a swap for second place.
Yeah, I was about to point that out with the Renault swap positions.
Yeah, as Jamie pointed out in the chat, it's been a good race from TC so far, and third place where he started, so he won't be able to complain too much. But Nicky now taking that second position. Ivanhanen still close to Jonas Albrecht, but does not got enough grip to really go for an overtaking manoeuvre. The closest battle we've got in the points is Riley and Kingan. Kingan, he's on the softer tyres, he's on the fresher tyres, but he does have that bit of damage on his front wing, which is really costing him in this middle sector, as you just see there.
Not pretty there from Kingan. I think that front wing damage has really cost him.
Yeah, but he could drop it outside the points.
Come in as Lee Hoffner is now chasing up or catching up to the back of this fight. So as Gaza picks up a 3-second time penalty, so not been the greatest race for him compared to his teammate, who is just storming away at the front of this field. Yeah, definitely. Kingan, he stayed within a second of Riley though, but now that he's got Lee Hoffner over the back of him, I'd imagine any time soon he might have to worry more about defending rather than attacking. Kingan, not a clean exit out of turn 3. He will keep the DRS off the back of Riley, but he's just losing touch to the back of that Alfa Romeo. And even Gazaman and Dexter are starting to close up slightly, so maybe we'll see some more battling for the final points positions. TC gets himself a penalty, but he'll be safe from Jonas Albrecht. Big gaps we're seeing at the front of the field, 25 seconds from first to fourth at the moment. And Rich, he's definitely closing up to the back of Astronauti. He's really sent that gap down at the moment. I think the Mercedes is starting to struggle on those hard tyres. At the end of this lap, it will be 26 laps. He's still got to do another 4, so it's going to be 30 by the end of the race. Yeah, definitely. Ivanhanen's still sticking on the back of Jonas within that DRS range, but just pulled him along so far this evening, so he's done rather well considering the unfortunate start up to the race he's had. Rich driving extremely well in his Toro Rosso, as Astronauti going extremely wide at the hairpin of turn 3 there, struggling a lot on those hard tyres which are nearing 30 laps in age, so not looking great for that Mercedes. But the other Mercedes on the other hand has put on an absolutely stupendous comeback drive after, well, a really disappointing first 4 laps basically. Yeah, was facing the wrong way in the pit lane exit at the start of lap 1. Safety car allowed him to catch up to the back of the field, involved in a slight incident with Indecisive as well, but didn't get any damage luckily for him, and that's allowed him to catch up as Kingan has dropped way down the field. He's actually heading towards the pits, so I think he's going for that fastest lap
point for outside the top 10, so that's promoted Lee Hoffner to 10th, Gaza to 11th, and Dexter to 12th. Rich, he is within the DRS range though of Astronaut. He's got that rear wing open. The gap coming down all the time. You can see how much it is as Rich goes wide at that corner, trying to get the cutback, but perhaps just a bit too wide this time around. So Astronaut is safe to fight another day, but so much more grit from that Toro Rosso. Can the Mercedes somehow hold on for the next 2 laps of this Austrian Grand Prix? The leader, Chris, is now on his penultimate lap. That gap, 13 seconds. He's not going to be worried about that coming down at the moment. Indecisive, the other Williams, he's had to pit from 15th on his medium tyres. 27 laps, just a stretch too far for them. It'll be interesting to see where Rich feels the need to go for this move, because I think he's going to have to be decisive. If he does it into turn 1, that just gives Astronaut the DRS down the next straight, obviously.
Yeah, definitely. I think he might play it cautiously and hold off for going into turn 1. He's not quite close enough yet. So I think he's going to try and get the run through turn 1 and then send it into the hairpin. So he's got the run off of it, overtake mode enabled. He's going to send it round the outside of the Mercedes here. That's a surprise, but he's going to sweep right round the outside. Going a little bit deep, but he's going to keep the position into turn 3. But will Astronaut be close enough to send it back up the inside or around the outside? No. Amazing driving from the Toro Rosso promotes him into 6th position.
Yeah, great driving from the Toro Rosso of Rich. He takes 6th position, got it done before the braking zone. That meant he could take the racing line and maintain that position. Riley and Lee Hoffner are side by side coming through turn 6. This is for 9th and 10th place, and they've got to keep it careful because Gazaman and Dexter aren't too far behind them either. So the leader, Chris, is on his final lap of the race. It's all getting very racy here on the Austrian Grand Prix. Round 4 will be at Singapore next week before the mid-season break for the charity races. Riley, oh, actually no, Lee Hoffner's hit the curve heavily there. That could give Gazaman the chance he needs. Lee Hoffner barely compromised coming out of the final corner. Is Gazaman going to be close enough to go into turn 1? No, he is not.
Yeah, Indecisive picks up a penalty for ignoring blue flags as Eva Haren's trying to get past Jonas here. It's not quite close enough. It looks like he almost had him down the main straight, but it looks like Jonas is going to hold off as Chris comes through the final corner and takes his first win of the season. The first non-Eva Haren win of the season. Nicky coming around the final corner to finish 2nd here. TC13 is going to come round the final corner now and take 3rd position. So it's a Renault 2-3 this evening with a Red Bull victory. Jonas is going to come home in 4th with Eva Hanen crossing the line in 5th position after an amazing comeback drive.
And he actually gets 4th on penalties as well. So a great performance from Eva Hanen.
Rich gets 4th on penalties.
Wow, so an Astronaut to get 6th, Jonas Ulbricht down to 7th. We're seeing the final few cars come across the line now, and this is going to shuffle it up. Lee Hoffner 8th, Riley 9th, Gazaman stealing 10th, Dexter 11th, Catboy Key. Penalties costed him. He ended up in 12th position, so still yet to get his first points of the season. We have the lapped cars of Alex, Indecisive, and Jess come across the line, and Kingan, he'll be the final man. Is he going to set the final fastest lap of the race and steal a point away?
He's already got the fastest lap.
Yeah, he's already got it, so that's easy for him. He spins across the line. But in the end, it was a dominant performance from Chris to take his first victory of the season. Managed to hold off in the intermediate conditions, didn't panic, and just pulled away in the dry. He will be delighted. Great performance, though, by Renault, getting both cars on the podium. That will help them as they try and catch up Mercedes in the Constructors' Championship.
Yeah, great drive from all of these guys on the podium, and especially Rich as well in that Toro Rosso, putting up some amazing overtakes on his way to that 4th position, only getting it on penalties though, but still, well done to him for getting his best finish of the season so far.
Yeah, we said penalties would be crucial, and it turned out to be for some of them lower places. But Chris, pole and victory for him. He takes the win, and he will also get the point for the fastest lap in the top 10. So a pretty perfect weekend for the Red Bull. Nicky 2nd, TC 3rd, Rich getting 4th, coming from 11th. Eva Hanen having to fight back from the back to get 5th. Astrodorti 6th. Jonas Ulbricht gaining 10 places to finish in 7th. Lee Hoffner, his best finish of the season, in 8th. Riley, once again, a story of what might have been for the Alfa Romeo. He's in 9th. Gazaman always seems to end up in the points, and it's the same today with 10th. Dexter just missing out in 11th. Catboy Key, big penalties costing him 12 seconds. Those behind him only had 6. He dropped to 12th. Kingan, 13th and getting the fastest lap. Alex, Mack and Jess Gamer were lapped. And the DNFs, we see Aaron, Truth and Schumacher. So Liam, who is your nomination for Driver of the Day?
I'm going to say Eva Hannon, just for the comeback drive he's put on this evening, having been facing backwards out of the first corner to finish 5th. That is an amazing drive from him, so he gets my nomination for Driver of the Day.
Yeah, I can't really argue with that one too much. I'm going to go for Jonas. He gained 10 places from his start position when you consider penalties. He did finish higher up, of course, and mainly just how he kept it clean in the first lap. He just seemed to worm his way through that incident, and in the pre-race interviews, a few of the drivers said sometimes you just need that bit of luck. He got that today and managed to get some good points. But Chris, another amazing race from him. It just seems to switch flicked after Paul Ricard. He's now out of a possible 52 points since then. He's picked up 44. He'll be delighted, and maybe Eva Hannon's not going to have this all his own way.
Yeah, Eva Hannon not getting it his way this week, it looks like, so I don't think he'll be very happy at the moment with how this week has turned out for him, but I think finishing 5th after spinning on the first lap will kind of, I don't know how to say, I've lost my will to speak at the moment.
Yeah, he'll definitely be happy with the recovery from that.
Yeah.
Rich as well, getting his best finish. Mercedes, as you said, 5th for Eva Hannon, but Astronauts here as well, getting 6th place. We saw Lee Hoffner get his best result of the season. And the Reynolds as well, a double podium. A few times we've seen good pace from TC, but nothing to really imagine that he'd be able to fight for the podium, and he did a great job today. Chris was pulling away slightly, but that was the case for everyone, and at no point in that race did it look like TC wasn't finishing on the podium.
Yeah, TC just drove his race his own way, just stayed out of trouble, and that's how he's finished on the podium. He's just stayed out basically every instant, and that's allowed him to get that podium position for Renault and allow them to have a double podium. So will you be able to work out the gap now to Mercedes?
It's still going to be pretty big, let's be honest. It was 70.
Yeah.
Back to Renault, it was 82 points behind before this race. So we're still talking, we're talking in the 60-point region at least. It's going to be well over a race victory still. McLaren getting a few points, but Mercedes actually pulling away from McLaren. So it wouldn't surprise me if Renault might have even moved up to 2nd place in the championship. In fact, I think the fastest lap and the win from Chris will just get Red Bull into 2nd in the Constructors. So that is still looking like a fantastic battle. There were many fantastic battles that we saw on track today. You'll be able to vote for the Driver of the Day between Jonas Ulbricht and Eva Hannon tomorrow evening. You can now join the Precision tier live. They are racing once again, obviously, around Austria. That'll be Owen and Austin taking them round that circuit. They are currently just towards the end of their qualifying session, which is also taking place in wet conditions. It seems to be a theme in one hub that if it rains at one track in one tier, it's raining at them all.
If it rains in Podium tier, it rains everywhere.
Yeah, we are the weather gods. We decide what the weather is like for the entire one hub streams. You can also join Alex from 8:30 from the Pinnacle tier. So as always, thank you so much for joining us. Remember to check out the Twitter page tomorrow for Driver of the Day. Check out the other streams and also check out our sponsors, Next Level Racing, in the description below. But from myself and Liam, thank you for joining us for what was a fantastic race, and we will see you next week at Singapore. Good night.